I know it's one of your favorite things. We are going to do a walkthrough of all of the new PeakD features from the release that was actually 2 days ago. I know I'm a slacker. In these walkthroughs, I actually will kind of recap some of the features that we're talking about. So you're going to learn a few new things, even if you have read through the release notes. Quickly, I'm going to go through the release notes, talk about what we're about to talk about, which is I'm going to show you where shorthand has made a improvement. I'm going to show you some BChat improvements as well. There's quite a bit there. I'm going to show you what we did for USD estimates on transfers, and also talk about maybe how we're going to improve it yet again in a future release. So some UX improvements on a couple of different menus and why we did that. I'm not going to be able to necessarily walk through this mobile improvement, but we're going to talk about what and why we did the things we did. And then I can actually, down here is a list of a bunch of new things. I can actually go over a couple of them if you want. That'll be at the end of the video. So at the end of the video, it may start getting a little bit like less exciting, a little bit more technical. But if you are way into how everything works, stay tuned. So let's start at the very beginning. It's a very wonderful place to start. So shorthand, where are they showing up? So we put a C/ to represent communities. So when you look and you go, oh, that's a community. I obviously follow way too many communities. And then over here, the shorthand for topics is a very similar, typical thing, which is the hashtag. And then badges is B/. Now over here, we have lists, and we abbreviated it with user list. So let's see where these things start to show up. So in my feed, you will look here, you've got C/ and C/ here, and then the hashtag. So this means that they did not put it into a community. So it's just a kind of a fun, quick way, like, oh, that's a community, that's a community, that's a community. So, and that's a topic. They didn't put it into a community, just right onto their blog, I suppose. In any case, that's one place where it will show up. If you go to the all communities page, you'll see that it's showing up there, which is obvious. If you go to the badges page, obviously it's going to show up there. If you go to, even if you go inside of a community, it's showing up here. And also, then the tags, I guess, are showing up here, and maybe should be showing up here above as well. So if you see any place where the shorthand isn't showing up, let us know. I believe that kind of covers the shorthand. So then the second thing that we did a lot of work to was the BChat. So we're going to go in here. Now, first of all, let's explain how it works. You can do direct messages, or you can do group messages. And most of our recent updates were to group messages. So when you have this little icon here, that means it's a group message. So I've personally done a lot of testing. We've broken a couple of it, and we fixed them, and stuff like that. So now that's different from community chats, which are down here in the channels. So that was our previous update. We did a lot of work on community chats, basically. So also another thing that we did was the ability to remove a friend. So those that are a chat friend with you can add you to a group chat. That's one of the basic concepts of BChat. Okay, so if you don't want them adding you to a group chat, you can remove them. If you do want them adding you to a group chat, you can add them. So there you go. And you'll see invites if someone's like, hey, I need to add you to this group messaging. So I'm going to send you an invite first. So it's pretty similar to how Discord does it, I suppose. Now, here's a guild for Splinterlands, and quite a bit has been done here. So a lot of messaging happening here. First of all, what you should know is the person that creates it will be labeled over here, but the creator can add a couple of moderators. So, and the creator can rename it. So, where's one that I created? So you can rename it. So and then you can leave it. So if you are a creator or a moderator, you can add new members or remove them. So actually quite a good amount of functionality. I do want to repeat, of course, that bchat is not encrypted, so do not put sensitive information into your direct messages, your community chats, or your group chats. They are mostly hidden and mostly private, of course, but the creators of bchat do have access. We do not. PeakD does not, but the creators of bchat does. So just it's not encrypted. Just want to let you know that. But still a great system, of course. So all right. So that was most all of the changes that we did to the guild. Or I mean, sorry, the the group chat settings. Okay, so now let's send someone a, well, I guess I don't actually have to send it to them. So we're going to go to this user. We're going to click here and send tokens. When you add in amount of tokens, it's going to give you an estimate. And that's new. So one of the future things that we'd like to do is to give you estimates in other currencies than just the US dollar. And another thing we'd like to do is for you to be able to edit this number here. Say you want to give them exactly $3 because they paid for lunch or whatever. That's a very cheap lunch. But anyways, and then it will change the amount of Hive. So look for that in a future update. And okay, another big change that we did is to the user menu over here. So over here, you can we've separated it into 3 different areas, and we've added an advanced interactions to let users understand that these are not normal. Like they don't have to understand this. When you put advanced, they're like, oh, okay, I don't need to know what this is per se. Economic interactions, so you can find, oh, I need to send them tokens. You go directly to the economic section. And then these are the typical things: follow, mute, add to favorite, and add to list. Okay. Now, when you go to your own profile, you'll see some account interactions on your own. So you can edit, open a wallet, just some common things that you would normally do that you can actually get to in other ways. You can get to these other ways, but we wanted just another option to get to them a little bit quicker and faster. So one of these things, keys and permissions, is another thing that we actually changed. So I'm going to go to it right now. And we added all this information about authorities. So if there's a page that you're like, I don't quite get it, we're trying to go through them and add information. So here's what it does, and here's a tip, and here's a be careful. You know, it should be, instead of important, it should be warning. You know, like don't grant someone the active authority key unless you really want them to have access to your money. Just do posting. Everything here is posting, of course. And then and we wanted to let you know that if PeakD app is on the list, it's just because you gave us the authority to schedule, and we're going to use that to schedule posts for you. All right, so let's get back onto the list. Number 4 was some, well, I already went through number 4, and that was the menus. Number 5, let's go back to the PeakD post. I wanted to go over what we did on mobile, which was awesome. And I can't necessarily show you it here, but I can show you it here. If you go to mobile, actually, I may be able to go straight to Explore. Let me try this out. Hey, there we go. So you can. If you go straight to Explore, I was lying. You can definitely go here. So we changed all the icons, which we're liking a lot better. And we also added way more in a page. So if you're on mobile, you'll be able to see 2 or probably 4 at a time, maybe even 6, depending how big your mobile device is. So that's awesome. You can quickly get to places. We also use the shorthand for badges and communities and topics. And we changed the order. So upcoming soon is a bunch of changes to search. So we moved search higher up in there because it's going to start to be more useful pretty soon. So there we go. And what else is new? So the minor improvements. So let's go back to PeakD post. And I want to go over some of these minor improvements. So the mark to read, mark as read, will now do something that helps analytics on sites that track how much different applications on blockchain do. Because previously, it only said that you did transactions on PeakD if you did a post or a comment. So now when you click mark as read, it will say, hey, this user was an active user of PeakD. So that's pretty cool. We're excited about that. It just basically, when you hit this button, it's saying this, it just mentions our name, PeakD, in the transaction that you're doing. Okay, so we improved the account suggestion page. So let's go to that. So how do you even get to the account suggestion? Well, you can click on these followers, or you can go to connections. So it's inside of connections. There is suggestions. So yeah, we're improving some of these pages that maybe aren't used a ton, but we still want to improve them all the time. So a lot more information is being added. We just did some basic improvements. In the future, we'd love to make sure people that haven't posted in forever, this person hasn't posted in about a year or so. I mean, because I think they changed their name. So why are they showing up in suggestions? So that's kind of something that we'll work on updating soon as well. The tips dialog. So let's go quickly to tips. I'll just go to a following feed and just randomly hit send a tip. And it pops up faster than it used to. That's all. If we can't get information from Hive Engine about these tokens here, then we'll just kind of like give them a certain amount of time to give us that information. And if not, we'll just move ahead. So it was taking a lot of time before when Hive Engine was delayed. And so we just made it faster and said, you have this amount of time to give us that information. All right, so if you go to settings, we made some changes here. We added these two buttons, check status and check speed, okay? These have existed already, but we just added it here. We still suggest switch automatically, which is a pretty cool feature because if you choose one of these and it breaks, then you're going to have to find out the hard way that it's broken, I guess, and come in here and change it. And it's kind of a pain. So switch automatically is still awesome, but you can check speed and status. And there will be future improvements to the ability to switch automatically and understand your speed and all that stuff. Okay. All right. The next thing that we did was better dark mode support. Also, how do you get to dark mode right here? So we just made a change to the homepage to support that a little bit better. Also, when you are creating a post and you're uploading images, you can now do 15 megabyte images because the service that is being used, images.hive.blog, now allows 15 megabytes files as well. So PeakD doesn't necessarily have a particular system. Also, I want to mention if you are using a different site for uploading pictures, like you have a website of your own, like I use SmugMug a lot, you don't have to upload images here. You can simply use a link from those other places. So it is decentralized, I guess you could say, for pictures. You could use an IPFS system if you like as well. So we have integrated in the hive.blog system created by BlockTrades. Okay, so we also made some changes to proposals. There were some bugs here on the proposals page. And so now when you look here, anything below this is not getting funded. It used to be very dependent on this one made by GTG. But it's just basically whoever's the last person to use up all of the daily funding, which this one's 19,000. So obviously they've used up the daily funding. And it basically goes right back into the funding. So this one in particular goes right back into the funding. So that's pretty cool. And then we changed the witness page as well. I'm not sure if this was this update or the previous update. Just gave some information to the users to understand witnesses a little bit better. We call it block verifier because witness is a weird name. We understand that. It's something, just a Hive quirky thing. It's a weird Hive quirky thing. Block verifier is going to be maybe more understandable to those that are in blockchain world, but of course, many people won't understand it. So we are giving them 2 lines to help them understand it, and 1 line to give them a tip about what they could do, and 1 line to kind of advertise for the page that created this all. All right, so anything else that we have done? I think we are at the end. So that's 16 minutes of information about what we've done recently, but also kind of a little bit of teaching, right? Do you like these? I hope they help you out. I want to do them in the future because I kind of